Nelson Peltz is back, baby. The activist investor with Trian Group is a sign that he's trying to get Disney back on the right foot. Bob Iger, well, he's in a whole lot of trouble this time, now not giving back those kinds of promises that he once agreed he would do for Disney. What is Disney to do now that, well, Mr. Peltz is ready to pounce on their leadership? Hello folks, and welcome back to another video out of the WDW Pro channel. We are here to explain entertainment and keep you ahead of the culture curve. Today we're talking about how the mainstream and access media, they are not happy about Nelson Peltz. They are displeased that Disney has allowed this situation to even happen. The article we start off with here is out of Yahoo Finance. Disney caught by surprise by the return of activist investor Nelson Peltz. Now we have the great benefit of having watched the market today. Market overall did pretty well. Disney, wait a minute, what's this? That's right, folks, reverse it. The market did not do well. Disney did. Now that is something that we have not seen in a while. Take a look at this down in the bottom right-hand corner. 84.3 in extended hours. Disney is up something like 1.3%. Folks, we're not here to give you financial advice, but that's a big, big deal. Keep an eye on it, because as the market was struggling, usually the converse is happening. Usually Disney has underperformed the market. Again, no financial advice here, but Disney has lost about 60% of their total value in 2 years. Now that is something. And if the market had done that overall, it would be a catastrophe. Some might say it's a catastrophe for Disney. Here's what we've got. Disney's management team may have something in common with Snow White star Sleepy. They were caught by surprise. A person familiar with the matter told Yahoo Finance about Trian Fund Management, Nelson Peltz's latest activist attack on the bumbling media conglomerate. Don't you just love that? It's an attack, folks. Nelson Peltz wants the company to make money. It's an attack! Look out! I love it. I love the framing. And when it comes to bumbling media conglomerate, no, this is a fumbling media conglomerate. This company has failed to produce the kind of success that it needs to do. In fact, it's seen the anti-success over the past 2 years. But it's an attack to try to influence this company to do better. A source familiar with Disney's thinking refuted the notion. With Disney shares plummeting, I'm going to use plummeting there, to fresh 15-year lows. Notice, folks, how I'm adjusting this article so it is correct. Billionaire Peltz is jumping back into the ring to duke it out with former superstar CEO Bob Iger. And yes, look at this. Despite the market having dropped today, Disney went up. Now, how did it do that? It did that likely because Nelson Peltz is trying to weigh in. Anytime someone weighs in and it causes a boost to the profits of millions of people, I'm going to say that's probably not an attack. Trian now has a stake believed to be valued at $2.5 billion, making it one of Disney's largest investors. No meeting between Peltz and Iger has been scheduled, according to the source. Well, what does Mr. Peltz want, folks? Well, he wants to have board seats, not a board seat. No, no, no. The ante has been upped. And remember, folks, that one of the key sticking points here is that Nelson Peltz wanted for Disney to start giving money back to investors. That hasn't happened so far. Remember that the entire reason for Nelson Peltz backing off of his proxy fight earlier was that Disney essentially acquiesced to everything. The only exception to that was China. But now, with Disney essentially not coming through with anything, well, Peltz is saying, you know what? I think I'd like to have those agreements actually pulled through. I'd like to see them actually affected. I'd like to see them activated. I don't want to have empty promises and nothing come through. I'm an investor. I think the other investors would like to see their dividends. Guess what? It looks like he's going to hold Disney accountable. Personally, I think that's a great thing. But the way, again, that it's being framed here, watch the framing from the mainstream. Jill Goldsmith, another headache for Disney. Activist investor Nelson Peltz is back and said to be seeking board seats. Oh, it's a headache for Disney. Poor Disney. They have a headache. Activist investor Nelson Peltz, who dropped a long battle with Disney earlier this year, has amassed a large stake in the media giant and is said to be seeking board seats. His Trian Fund, one of Disney's largest investors with a stake valued at upward of $2.5 billion, is expected to request multiple seats on the board of directors. including one for himself, according to the Wall Street Journal. And all I can say, folks, is hear, hear. These people can't do worse. The company has lost like 60% in 2 years. Let him have a go at it. What's the worst could happen? This is like, it's like a house that's burned down and they're wanting to keep the same interior decorator. And you're like, how about we hire some firefighters at this point? Maybe it's time. Maybe we should do that. Very interesting if you read these articles, folks, how they're handling this. The latest news comes as Disney faces headwinds at its parks after a massive post-pandemic boom. Wait a minute. That sentence doesn't even make sense. No, they're not facing headwinds after a mass post-pandemic boom. They're facing headwinds because they stepped into the culture curve. Not the culture curve, the culture war. We do the culture curve here. They do the culture war. Oh my gosh. Go out there, folks. Read some of these articles. See if I'm not telling the truth about this. The framing is tremendous. They frame it as if Disney is a highly successful company, when it clearly has not been in the last 2 years, maybe longer. They frame it that way because they can't admit that the things that Disney has been doing, which they support, are catastrophic for the company. They don't make money. They lose money. They set money on fire. Nelson Peltz wants to change that. He wants Disney to make money again. We'll see how that plays out. One thing we want to do here on this channel is we want to do cues from you again. We haven't done these in 2 weeks due to some technical difficulties as well as some breaking news that sort of threw us askew. Let's get into these, lest we do as poor a job with our memberships as Bob Iger has been doing with Disney shares. Out of Space Dave 2000, is there any info on how well Disney vacations? Right now, they're getting a bigger benefit because, well, you get to park at Disney World at different resorts, whereas now Disney has changed the policy where if you want to eat somewhere and you don't have a reservation, but instead you've ordered mobily, they're not letting average people even pick up their food. So DVC looking better now, although I'm not sure that's a good incentive. I think that's just a punishment and a cudgel against average folks. Probably not going to go over well. Just J10 says, favorite flavor, any type of food. When it comes to ice cream, Just J10, my favorite flavor is butterscotch. In fact, I highly recommend everybody out there go try a butterscotch malt sometime. You'll have a good time with that. Coach O'Dragon mentions that Wish is starting to look like a conglomeration of many Disney movies put together, and it may be lazy writing, may look a little bit like Puss in Boots. And Coach O'Dragon, I agree with you absolutely 100%. If Disney fails with Wish, this will be a seismic shift for the company, as that is the dorkable kind of princess archetype, and they've been highly successful with that in the past. If they can't be successful now, it's going to be ugly and really will indicate that families have abandoned Disney. Jason Barnes says, any thoughts on the upcoming new season of Spy X Family? Such a great family-friendly anime. I'm happy to have some good entertainment to look forward to. Jason, I have great news for you. Because of the Hollywood strike, which, yes, it's still going, the writer's strike may have ended, and now they've moved to the other side and now they're part of the picket lines for the actors, making the studios just so happy. But the actor strike continues, and if this thing goes into next year, 2024 and 2025 are going to be very ugly for entertainment. But it won't be ugly for anime because the Western markets are going to look to anywhere they can to find other franchises and other genres to fill the gap. Mr. Donkey Craig says, I apologize if this isn't keeping with things, but this question is for my father, who passed away last Friday. And Mr. Donkey Craig, I want to pause right there and say that I extend my deepest condolences to you when we lose someone who is dear to us. And when we are separated in that way, it is tremendously sad and heartbreaking. And I extend a true virtual hug to you and to all of those of you who are grieving right now with the loss of your father. I hope there are many happy and sunshine-filled days with great memories. And your dad, I'm sure, is very pleased with all of those that he loved, and I hope you're pleased with him. He says, do you believe James Bond is in safe hands with Nolan being named as director? My dad was a huge Bond fan, and I know he would be excited for a new Bond. Thanks in advance. We don't know yet for sure if Christopher Nolan is the director. We talked about this in a member-exclusive video if you want to go back and check. However, I'll say this. If he does get the director's seat, Christopher Nolan, to my knowledge, has never done anything that moved into super woke territory. I think that's a good sign for James Bond, especially with some of those other ideas that have been floated. Entertainment Echo says, I'm so tired of hearing about dismal Disney. Ahsoka officially killed Star Wars for me, and after seeing those twerking videos, I'm now pretty much done with Disney as well. So let me ask instead a question about Nintendo. Have there been any updates about Nintendo's projects? I'm particularly interested in The Legend of Zelda. I think that once the actors' strike ends, we'll get the information on many of these projects, particularly the NCU. They are frozen in place right now. Not much work can be done. A Zelda project, for example, can't move forward without voice actors. So they're just kind of stuck in limbo right now. Indy Phantom says, "Hey, Pro, I have not heard much about the SAG strike lately. The thing never trended, in my opinion. Any developing news?" Well, they're in the ratification process right now. Looks like that's going to be a sure thing. So hang tight, and I think we'll get through the ratification. But as I said before, we're watching the actors. Stuttering Guitarist says, "Is there a way to fix Star Wars without giving it some time to breathe, i.e. leave it alone for a while and potentially find a new, better Lorne studio head?" Yes, Lorne would be much better. Guitarist, what I would say is they've got to get completely new management in there. That would be the first sign that would tell Star Wars fans something is on the way. A complete cleaning of the slate. The folks at Lucasfilm, they are so outside of what the common Star Wars fan wants right now. It's just amazing. And they haven't, you could do that if you could build a new fan base. They have not, clearly. And we'll talk about that soon as we have even more information about the Ahsoka ratings coming out. Darth Apathy says, "Just finished first Universal trip since Dueling Dragons was installed. Hey, rode the train with guy that talked about parks plans nonstop. Please confirm or deny. Epic. Not till 2025. Trying to get Lord of the Rings IP for new area." The last we heard is that Lord of the Rings is actually out for Epic Universe. They don't want it to compete with How to Train Your Dragon. They think those are two sword and sorcery IPs that would be conflicting. And in terms of the year, 2025 could happen, although we are hopeful that very late 2024 we might get some sort of soft preview, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Maybe get some VIPs in there. One thing is for sure, though, it's going up quickly, and I think there are very exciting things on the way. All right, folks, that is a wrap for today, but we had to get in here and talk about Nelson Peltz, and we needed to wait until the market had closed so that we could give you the most accurate news possible. One thing I do want to say, there is plenty of dark and unhappy and unsettling news across the world right now, the real world. We here on this channel, we will continue to cover entertainment because it matters. Entertainment really gives us the role-playing that we take and apply to the real world. And so you want entertainment to be good. We also want the real world to be good. But that's a different domain than what we typically cover here. When it intersects with entertainment, we'll cover it. But for the most part, we're going to leave serious news in terms of reality in the real world and what's going on in various locations around Earth. We're going to leave that to the news coverage that they do that. When we have to, we'll speak about it. But I simply want to say that from a foundational level, we wish the best for all good people. And if you are looking for a way to make the world better, as you watch some of these horrific scenes out there where innocents are being gravely harmed and mistreated so badly, if you're looking for a way to improve the world, look around you. Start with where you are and branch out. And for those who are in leadership, who have the ability to effectuate change on a grand scale with these sorts of things, we're hoping and praying and wishing that they will use the absolute best wisdom and judgment they can. Hopefully, this world will move into a better direction. We don't want to see the atrocities that we've seen before. We're starting to see them again, and that is disturbing. Be kind to one another. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Listen up, my brothers and sisters. You've been listening to Phils and those with an agenda to destroy your brain cells for far too long. It's time to change your way of doing things. Hold up. TPP is the place to be. Covering the news so honestly. It's a team that's cool and tried and true. Ahead of the culture curve, they're trying to keep you. Jonas and Pro, they run the show, and they dragged in the bearded culture casino. You got Valiant and Lord and Fourth of Light. Wonderful people, yeah, they're alright. They got weird bringing in people like Floral, but made no mistake with Lorena Creole. Amelia and John, stuttering guitarist. Martin and Tawny, and someone called CMS. Fat Steven makes a bunch of other graphics. Did I mention a partnership with Bending in the comics? Fat Sky is a guy, and Doc Matt does the web stuff. There's probably some people I missed. I hope they're not telling you the news that should be fun. With accurate info that's not been spun, you can figure it out as you will see. The TPP is the place to be.